Hey y'all, it's Sarah and Magellan, and this is Moonraker Makes. Last Saturday was local yarn store day, April 25th, and I wanted to go visit all of the yarn stores in Atlanta. I wrote down a total of 6 or 7, I believe. Atlanta has 4 yarn stores inside the perimeter, and I think there's 2 or 3 outside the perimeter as well. If you're not from Atlanta, the perimeter is 285. So the highway ring that goes around the outside of Atlanta is called the perimeter. So if you live inside the perimeter, ITP, and if you live outside the perimeter, OTP. So I used local yarn store day as sort of my own personal yarn crawl. I hadn't been to a lot of the yarn stores that are close by to me. Stop number 1 was Fiber Parts. Hey y'all, Editing Sarah here. As a quick aside before I start this conversation, Fiber Parts posted on their Instagram this morning, May 8th, Friday, that they are officially closing. They're doing a 20% off sale of everything except their Ashford products. So just keep that in mind while you hear this discussion, and we're sorry to see him go. In Avondale Estates, it is in East Atlanta. Fiber Parts has a very small actual like yarn section. They've got a lot of good notions. You can also go, they have like weaving supplies and some cones. They also have a really like cute small sewing notions section with like cotton fabrics and buttons. They've got a lot of different kits. The back wall of Fiber Parts used to belong to Bookbird, and so they had a lot of shelves with books. Bookbird recently got their own physical location in Avondale, so if you're local, I can't wait to check it out. It looks really cute. I was really hoping they would replace all those books with more yarn, but it looks like in the back of the store they used to have a refillery, and they've moved that refillery out to where Bookbird was, so that's now what takes up the majority of the store. Is the, like refillable. If you've never been to a refillery before, like, you can bring your own container, get your own shampoo, your own like conditioner, laundry supplies, all different kinds of cleaning supplies. If you're close to Avondale, I believe Fiber Parts Fiber Circle is on Saturdays from 11 to 2. I have done it a couple of times. They also do a monthly Stitch and Bitch at Druid Hills Brewery, which I really recommend. They have great food and great beer. From Fiber Parts, we headed west to the Craftivist in Inman Park. I loved this store. I hadn't been to it before because it's kind of hard to find parking. But so I had my husband drop me off so that I could poke in there. Oh, my dog's licking me. Okay, thank you. Appreciate the kisses. But the Craftivist was really light and bright. There were a lot of people in there shopping. The thing about the Craftivist is that it is in Inman Park, which April 25th of every year, it seems like the weekend of local yarn store day is always when there is Inman Park Fest is going on in Inman Park in Atlanta. And so the Craftivist can't actually open on Saturday because the Gnome March starts like right in front of their store. So they actually do local yarn store day on Friday and Sunday because they're closed all day Saturday. The Craftivist had a lot of brands like Malabrigo, a lot of local brands like Jake 77 that's dyed here in Atlanta, as well as they had a whole wall of hand-dyed yarn from Florida that was really, really cute. They've got a lot of really good notions. This is a great place to go if you want a good book. They do their Fiber Circle every Saturday and Sunday, I believe from 3 to 5. I have one purchase from the Craftivist. I got this cute little bundle of these mini skeins of yarn from Bluesky Fibers in all different kinds of colors. My goal, I've been actually looking for a bunch of different shades of minis like this because I really want to work on the Oakwood Knits Stardew Valley socks. I want to kind of make a scrappy pair, and I've just been color matching the palette shades that she has for those socks to things that I have in my stash, either leftovers or, minis. I have a bunch of oopsies from one of Sorella's past oopsie sales. And some colors I didn't have in a fingering weight were just a really bright white. And then I didn't have any fingering weight green yarns. And I really needed like a bright red like this for the Stardew Valley socks. So I thought this was a really good way to get a bunch of different colors. I'm excited to get started on the Stardew Valley socks. I promised myself I would wait until this fall. I think I want to do the fall socks first, and I would like to cast them on the fall equinox. So I've got a little bit, but that's okay because I already have another sock on the needles. So our next stop was the Needle Nook in Druid Hills. I actually used to live in this neighborhood, and I'd never been to the Needle Nook. There were so many people in there, so many women. It was really a vibe. There was music playing and everyone was talking. They had two like really, really big tables that a bunch of people were knitting at. Someone was winding yarn. They were announcing raffles. There's walls and walls of yarn. The owner was really, really nice. If you live close to Druid Hills, I think that would be a great choice for your favorite local yarn store. Unfortunately, their only knitting circle, like open table, is on Fridays from 2 to 4. So I'm not off work by then, but they also have a men's knitting circle on Monday night, which I thought was really cool. Needle Nook had a lot of different yarns. There was a lot of Malabrigo. They had a really big selection of Sanus garn, like the alpaca. They had Laine, Pure Ghent. They had a whole wall of Chiagoo needles. They had a lot of chenille, like for crocheters, crochet and knit tools. I know they do a lot of crochet and knit classes on the weekends. I took a picture of their May schedule that I'll put up here too. We just had a really great time in the store. Oh, they also have needlepoint. So if you are into like, the painted canvases and all the, different colors of wool strands for needlepoint, they had that there as well, which I thought was really, I loved looking at all the colors. From the Needle Nook, the only thing I got were a size 8 of the Chiagoo steel needles. These are the 5-inch length in a US 8. It seems like every project I've been doing lately needed a US 8, and I only have one set. My main needles are Lantern Moons. They're a wood needle, but I've been slowly also purchasing like the same, when I need new needles, instead of buying a full set of Chiagoos, I've been buying them individually, like on a project by project basis, especially for the smaller set of needles in Lantern Moon, like the 2.5 and the 3. I found that they have a tendency to break really easily. So especially in the smaller sizes, I really like having the steel needles. The next shop that we went to on Local Yarn Store Day was Yarning for You. It is located in a small strip mall in Vinings, like just inside the perimeter. I had never been to this shop before. There were a lot of people in there. Everyone was having a really good time. They have a lot of really beautiful shelving in there with lots and lots and lots of yarn, lots of different things to choose from, a lot of hand dyed, a lot of commercial dyed yarn. It looked like they had lots of little kind of like grab kits of maybe from like a yarn swap or like some kind of like used yarn section in the front too, where they had like bags of discounted yarn. They also had a lot of books, a lot of minis if you wanted to try something small, a whole wall of notions behind the front desk. The owner, again, was really, really nice. We talked for a little bit. I had picked up one of Sayer's linen paper-y sort of yarns. I've been wanting to knit a bag. And I picked it up and I was like, she's like, I made a top in that. It's really, really nice. I said, I've been wanting to make a bag. And she goes, well, did you see the Ra-Ra-Raffia that we have? And I was like, no, I totally missed that. So she kind of pointed me in the direction and I finally found it. So I've been trying to look for this in person. Wool in the Gang Ra-Ra-Raffia. This is in the shade Espresso, I believe. I got espresso brown. I got 3 skeins of this. I just bought all the ones that she had. And I think I might make, it's actually a crochet bag, the Emily bag. It looks really cute, and I think it's right at the amount of, Is it yarn? It's paper yarn. So that's my plan for this summer. The last yarn store that we visited was Emily Laine Yarn Shop. So she recently moved. She used to be in further west of Roswell in a different market, and she has recently just moved to West Side Market. So she was in a brand new space. She actually moved in like the week before local yarn store day, which is why I prioritized going to her shop, because I know she had kind of gotten, you know, the short end of the stick. Her old market closed unexpectedly, and she had to like real quick in a hurry move all of her yarn store over. I only had enough time that Saturday to either go to One More Row or Emily Laine, and that's why I ended up choosing to go to Emily Laine, because I wanted to support her. I met her last year at the Alabama Fiber Festival. We were both in the Paper Crane Yarns booth, and she was talking about, you know, all the different brands she carries. Her booth is in West Side Market, which is one of those, I don't want to call it an antique market. Some of the booths are antique markets, but a lot of them are, you know, like homemade crafts or like curated spaces. We walked around a bit, but didn't really see anything that we would be interested in. She was doing some giveaways, some pattern giveaways for local yarn store day, and also had some snacks laid out. I ended up getting 2 of these giant, look how big these are. These are 200-gram balls from Noro. This is their Kakigori, and this is the shade 38 is Aioi. I think that's how you say that, Aioi. This is a 50% cotton, 30% silk, 10% viscose, and 10% polyamide yarn. I really like this tan color, and it's got lots of red, like periwinkle and yellow in it. I purchased 2 of these, so for 400 grams, I thought this would make a really nice summer t-shirt. And I was looking at I originally thought the poppy tee, but I think I want to do the harvest tee. I really like the little, the curled edges on it, and it just looks like something really cozy to throw on this time of year. So out of all the yarn stores that I visited, Fiber Parts, the Craftivist, Needle Nook, and Yarning for You are all inside the perimeter. And then Emily Laine is outside the perimeter in Roswell. And the only one I didn't have the time to visit was One More Row in Woodstock. I don't think they're open on Sundays, which is one of the reasons I still haven't made it, just because I feel like I'm always busy on Saturday, and then they're closed on Sunday. So I think if you're traveling to Atlanta, the only 2 of these yarn stores that you would be able to get to with the MARTA would be Fiber Parts and the Craftivist. Fiber Parts you could get off at the Avondale station and walk over to it. The Craftivist is kind of right in between 2 different MARTA stops. It would be about a 15 to 20 minute walk depending on which direction you're coming from. But what I would recommend, if you're in Atlanta visiting, you want to go to a yarn shop and you're probably like working or staying downtown, I would take the MARTA over to Inman Park and get out, either walk or take a scooter to the Craftivist. And then just north of the Craftivist, you've got the Beltline, which is, you know, a primo Atlanta experience. And I would eat at Glide Pizza because it's just north of the Craftivist. And I think it's the best pizza in Atlanta. And you have to get Glide's Ranch. It's magic. I don't know what they put in it. I keep trying to make my own recipe and it just doesn't cut it. If you're local to Atlanta, you live inside the perimeter, I think Needle Nook and Yarning for You are both really great high vibe yarn stores with really sweet owners that have a really great community that are already going there. So if you've been missing that kind of community element in your fiber practice, I think that would be a really great place to go. Have you guys ever been to any yarn stores in Atlanta? Which one was your favorite? Did I miss any? Let me know. What have you guys been reading and watching and listening to? I've been watching Stargate 1, or SG1. I'd never seen it before. My husband is over the moon that I'm watching it. He's been making a bunch of jokes now that he said that I wouldn't have gotten before. There's 10 seasons of it. I really love like space type shows, so it's a different take on a very like familiar formula of a space show. Music wise, the new Noah Kahan album just came out, and the new Casey Musgraves album just came out as well. I'm big fans of both of those, so I've been listening to The Middle of Nowhere and The Great Divide on repeat. I also just finished our book club book we're doing our next book club with my friends in June, and I finished the book way early. We're reading Yesteryear, which is it was billed to me as like a horror novella of a trad wife who gets like sent back in time to the 1800s and like actually has to live, the rough life. It was a really, really compelling book. I think it's one of those you either love it or you hate it. I really enjoyed it because I thought it brought up a lot of good points about like different aspects of social media and child exploitation, and just the absolute like shriveling of a woman's mind in that kind of environment. And I thought it was really compelling. The first, I would say, third of the book I thought was incredibly boring and I did not understand where it was going. I'm glad I stuck with it because I could not put it down. Once I got to like probably the 40% mark in the audiobook listening, I finished it so fast because it got so interesting, and I couldn't put it down. I also just finished the first 2 manga of Frieren. I absolutely love the show. It's absolutely my new favorite anime. I've been rewatching and rewatching. So I finished the first 2 books in that manga, and I've also been very slowly getting through Enchanted Greenhouse. It's the sequel to Spell Shop. So cozy, so cute. I haven't been reading through it slowly because it's boring. I just haven't had the time I have a lot of books and a lot of things that I've been working on, particularly knitting, and physical books and knitting don't go great together, unfortunately. So, but let me know, what have you guys been reading? What have you been listening to? What have you been watching? I will see you guys very soon. Please like and subscribe. Let me know down below what hobbies have you been into lately? Bye.